Hey, friends. So, interesting experience this morning. I was going to, I had done my sort of morning yoga routine. I was going to meditate, and it was dark. The house was dark, no lights on. And I had, I usually come out here with Annalise's monitor so that I can hear if she wakes up. At this point, she's about to turn 5. We probably don't need a monitor anymore, but I've just gotten so used to it that I've continued to use it. But anyway, it's just a little audio monitor that when she makes a noise, I can hear it. Okay, so it's sitting on a little bookcase out here by the piano, and I was looking for it because I wanted to go into the other room and meditate, and I wanted to take the monitor with me. So I walk over, and the monitor sort of has like one side, it's like there's the back of it, and then on the front it has a couple of lights that some of which are constantly on and some of which light up when she makes a noise. And so it's sitting there, and I see illuminated on the bookcase what looks like the monitor. And so I reach out and I grab it and I pick it up, and it turns out that it's an applesauce Tetra Pak that Annalise had when we were practicing violin a day or two ago. It was like right there. Like, here's the monitor, here's the Tetra Pak. So the light from the monitor was illuminating the thing, and I thought that the thing that was illuminated was the monitor. So I picked up, so what I clocked in that moment, the thought went through my head, oh, I have mistaken the thing that the light illuminates for the light itself. I was like, oh, what a good lesson to take into meditation with me. Because how often is that the case in our inner work or in something like meditation? How often is the thing that the object that the light illuminates, the thing that we mistake for the thing we're seeking? All we're really seeking is the light. All we are really after is the presence of consciousness, which inherently unfolds as bliss. They talk about in Advaita Vedanta or in various mystical traditions, they talk about the sheaths of existence going from formless non-existence, and then little by little you get these layers of existence that culminate in sort of like concrete material form on the kind of most coarse level. But from the most subtle level in, you go from non-existence to bliss, to the experience of consciousness, of objective self, a sense of self, and then into more and more sort of like concrete manifestations of consciousness. But so in other words, all we're really looking for, anytime we're seeking anything, what we're really looking for is that first sheath, ananda, the bliss sheath, which is basically the first thing that the light illuminates. Even that is not the light. It's just the first thing that the light illuminates as it goes from non-being into being. Everything else in creation is something that the light illuminates, not the light itself. That doesn't mean that there's not light in it. Obviously, there has to be in order for it to exist. But the way that we're going to perceive it is as like, oh, that's where I see the light coming from, because that's the thing, or that's the person, or that's the job promotion, that's the status, that's the house, that's the pool, that's going to give me that feeling of bliss. But all those things are just things that the light illuminates. None of them are the light. So, of course, we're endlessly disappointed if we're chasing those things. So this little morning, I got this beautiful little morning metaphor literally popping into my hand when I was like, oh, there's the light. Clunk. No. I just thought it was the light because the light was shining on it. What a lesson. Thank you, universe. Like, my God, could you, like, what a perfect little poetic nugget of realization to place literally in my hand as I'm going to sit down and do my meditation practice. I was like, aw, that's a good way to start the day. And I've had, in my practice overall recently, I've kind of committed, I've recognized, this is always how it goes. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You start meditating a little more than usual, and you start to realize, oh, I need to be doing much more of this. Somehow when we do less and less meditation, we're less and less aware of what it's doing for us, of just how powerful a reframe or a frame it's creating as far as like how we perceive life and how we perceive the world. As soon as I start doing a little more meditation, like the other day I meditated for half an hour, and that was more than I'd been doing for a couple of weeks. I'd been doing more like 15-20 minutes just because I'd been getting up a little later. My routine had kind of been slipping. So I was shaving minutes off my meditation. Well, as soon as I did a half hour, I was like, oh, Lord, I need to be doing 2 hours a day. And 2 hours a day is tough because I'd have to get up really early for that. But today I did an hour. And at the end of 1 hour, I was like, oh, God, I need to be doing 2 hours. 2 hours is really kind of where the sweet spot is. And so, in other words, I'm having that experience of meditation pouring back into me and showing me like all the ways in which the mind, what's going on in my mind, which is not the light. The mind stuff is the stuff that the light illuminates. It's the applesauce pack. That's my new metaphor for any object that we mistake for the light. The thoughts are the applesauce pack, and the observer of those thoughts is the baby monitor. Go with me on this image. And the more I do it, the more I recognize, oh yeah, that's really how it works. You just have to continuously let the mind do whatever it's doing, but observe it. Not like, what happens is these thoughts are sticky. So like there'll be a thought that's like, I should really call so-and-so and follow up about and then before I know it, I'm like on that train and I'm going over here and I'm really invested in the outcome of that line of thinking, as opposed to just letting that line of thinking happen and go on its merry way, renouncing the content of thought. If we need to, moment to moment. Now, I suspect that the great teachers and masters, they just stop having those random trains of thought take off at all hours of the day and just go to random destinations. Because why? Once we're settled into consciousness, once we're settled into bliss, there's no reason to think any thoughts that we don't choose to think. It's not like that's necessary activity of the mind. It's just momentum, mental momentum, and habitual activity. So I'm coming around to a place where I'm recognizing how important it is to spend a lot of time in meditation and to spend a lot of time in the light, not grabbing for the applesauce pack. Now you know my code. That's where I'm at today, folks. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.